Now, I'm a big fan of the show Roadkill. Don't watch a lot of TV, but that's one of the shows I watch. And I've had a few comments about doing a custom of one of the Roadkill cars. And I chose the '69 Chevy Impala. Now, I have one of these somewhere. My grandson has one. I couldn't find it, so I had to go to eBay and purchase another one. It was $10 shipped. Not exactly what I wanted to do, but it's the perfect car for this custom. Unfortunately, it is convertible. And I could not find any other Chevy Impalas, year '69, that were not. So the Johnny Lightning is what we're going to use. And what makes this even better? It's the right color. The only thing is it's too shiny, it's convertible, and it has a hood. The Roadkill car doesn't have one. We're going to go ahead and take it off. So I kind of pry it a little bit, but we're just going to use the old-fashioned method. A pair of needle nose pliers and just rip that puppy off of there. It does have a nice detailed motor, but eventually we're going to have to lose that as well. And we're going to start this custom like we do 99% of them, by drilling out the rivets. We're going to chuck it in our Harbor Freight cheapo vise with rubber feet and use a 1/8 inch drill bit to totally eliminate that mushrooming. Again, we call it a rivet, but it's just the post that's been mushroomed out. Now once we get the front done, we're going to go ahead and flip it around and repeat the same process for the rear. We don't need to take too much off, we just need to get that rim off of it. If you have a die caster looking at it, you will see a little bit of a rim, and we should be able to just pop it right on out. The front, you can see here, will pop out very easily. The back, there's still a little bit too much material left on there, but you can go ahead and twist it and just pull it apart. You should be home free. And what you're looking at here is the base of the car, or the chassis. A lot of collectors like to call it the base. There's the interior, which simply falls right on out. Now that we've got the car all apart, we're going to take our 3000 grit sandpaper, just using it dry, not wet, and we're going to rough up the car just a little bit. I actually used the sandpaper over the entire car. I do want some bare spots, but more importantly, I want that blue paint to appear oxidized. Remember, it's a brand new casting, so it's nice and shiny. We need to doll it up as much as we can without taking away too much paint. And here's the end result. The entire car is nice and dull, and we have some bare spots. In my opinion, it's kind of perfect. Now we're going to take the hood off, which in order to do so, we have to drill out some small rivets right under the dash so we can pop off that convertible top. Now we're going to reuse that, but for now we're taking it off. We're going to take out that motor as well, because the Roadkill car does not have that tiny little motor in there. Drill out a rivet and pop it out with a screwdriver. There it is. Go ahead and get those last remaining bits from the hood that we so gently ripped off of there. Next, we're going to move on to weathering the car. We're using the Tamiya weathering kit. Now this is the rust portion here. We're just going to add rust here and there. Now I'm adding a little bit more rust than the actual Roadkill car has, but I do put the, at least what I believe, the proper amount on the trunk. That car has it mostly on the trunk and then around the top of the doors and at the top of the front wings or quarter panels. And I just keep applying the product until I get the desired end result. And we've got it pretty much here. Now the nice thing about this, get a little bit too much, just wipe it off with your finger. It is not set in there yet. We have to do that now. We're using our matte clear enamel from Rust-Oleum. This is why we actually took the roof off, because I don't want to paint the windshield and the rear window with the matte clear. Now it's time to put that big motor under the hood. Now I don't recall exactly what casting this came from. I believe it was a Roadster. It was actually in a bucket, in one of the Hot Wheels buckets in the bottom, and I set it aside, and this is the perfect opportunity to use it, so yay me. Go ahead and set it approximately where it needs to go, and then we'll glue it in place. We're just using some Tamiya thin glue, so we can actually move it around a little bit before it sets up. And the end result with the motor looks pretty good. I'm actually quite surprised. Now it's time to put the roof back on. Now, snap it in place and then I will glue it. Friction alone would have been enough to hold this together, but I've already got the car opened up, so we're just going to dab some glue on each corner as well as the dash, because the dash kind of comes out with the front windshield. Now the wheels on this Johnny Lightning are all wrong, so we are removing those with a Dremel. Pop them right out, and then we'll take a file and straighten out those slots so we can put a different set of wheels in, because the set of wheels we're going to use has much thicker axles. And here are the wheels we're going to use. Now it is currently 6 p.m. Eastern Time on Sunday. I purchased this casting about 3 hours ago. It's an M2 adult collectible, and it was $6.99. Unfortunately, the candidate that I thought I had, I couldn't find that either, so it was somewhere in one of the toy boxes. We're just using our electric little handheld screwdriver here, little hobby screwdriver, and taking it apart. Now the nice thing about these M2 collectibles, the screw holds the base to the car, as well as the rear wheel, but unfortunately the front wheel had to be dremeled out. Now it's time for reassembly. Now you'll notice I did not cut the axles from that M2, it didn't do anything to them. You can see they're a little bit wide, but the reason for this, if I did cut the axles and tuck them in, the casting wouldn't look right. The wheels would be tucked way too far into the wheel wells, and I want them as far out as possible, but still allowing them to go inside of the wheel wells. And these happen to be the perfect size for that. So we're setting our interior, setting the front wheel. We're not going to glue these in place or anything, because another thing we want to do is give it the right stance. And if I were to glue those axles in place, the ride height would be too high, so just kind of letting them rest against the front base and the rear base slash interior, it gives it the perfect height. If you recall, we did not drill and tap this car. We are simply just gluing the base to the body and using some accelerator to make that drive much faster. And of course, here's the end result. I'm actually overly pleased with this one. It turned out way better than I thought it would, and it took the least amount of time. This was probably the fastest custom I've ever done, aside from just doing a wheel swap. Now keep in mind, it's not a roller. The wheel stance, in my opinion, looks perfect. This is meant for display, so I don't care if it rolls or not. My grandson's not going to be playing with this one. But the rust came out perfect. Again, I added a little bit more than the Roadkill car has, but I think I got the trunk pretty close. And unfortunately, it is a convertible, but from a few feet away or even a foot away, it's kind of hard to tell, and it's going to be in a glass display. And the only other thing missing would be the white Roadkill sticker or water slide. Hopefully I can find one of those or make one and just add that at a later time. If you recall, this is what we started with, a brand new Johnny Lightning in the package, nice shiny blue paint, $10. Now if you kept track, $10, and then we paid another $7, I think it was $7.65 for the wheels. So almost $20 in this casting, but it's a one of a kind so far, and it enabled me to create a new video, and that's what's important. But more importantly to me, it allows me to learn new skills. I've never used weathering before. I've had the kit for a long time, but now that I've used it, I'll be sure to use it more in the future. If you see anything in the video, any of the tools that you would like to purchase for yourself, be sure to check out the links below the video. That's down in the description. I'll have Amazon links to just about everything I use in this video. I'll be sure to add the Tamiya weathering kit, as well as the electric screwdriver. I've reviewed that before on this channel, but I will be sure to put a link to that as well. Just about everything else is in there. The rotating stand, the bits, everything is going to be in the video description. And as always, thanks for watching.